I remember quite clearly, I said to myself, well, now we're going to be guests. Because, all the other people were going to Treblinka. We knew about Treblinka, we knew about the death camps, we knew about the gas chambers. I mean, it wasn't a secret. Some people wouldn't believe it, but you knew it. Even if you didn't want to believe it, you knew that it was happening.
When the train stopped, we were in Auschwitz-Birkenau. Well, there was an orchestra playing, made up of prisoners. In front of them, the commandants of the camps were standing, watching us coming into the camp. And we were ordered to go through a selection. There were Germans standing, we women. And one of them in front was pointing with a stick in his hand, right to life, left to death. Women with mothers with children were sent away, and older women. Then the men were sent away. And my father just looked back at me when he was ordered to move with the others, and he was hit over the head, bent down, and this is how I saw him. And that's how I saw him the last time. I've never seen my father again.
When we got to Majdanek, they divided the men from the women and the children from the adults. So they took my sister, and I kind of was left with the grown-ups, and my mother was screaming, and she ran towards my sister. And my sister grabbed her, and they were kind of holding each other. I remember somebody lifting her and kind of pushing my mother into that, and they started walking, and within 5 minutes they disappeared. I remember my mother's and my father's face very clearly. I can't remember my sister's face. And I remember the last few minutes of her life in Majdanek. But again, I can't see her face. I can only see her running, and I can see her hair, and I can see her grasping my mother. But I can't see her face.
Going out to work outside the camp one morning, we saw trucks lined up on the railway line. We saw little faces peeping out. And we felt completely helpless. We knew what will happen in a few minutes' time when the camp will empty, when we will be all away, then they would be chased out to the gas chambers. And we just wondered why the world was keeping quiet. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't even save ourselves. And we were helpless.
We arrived in Ravensbrück at night, and as I said, they opened the wagons and they started shouting, "Hinaus, hinaus," with the dogs and, these SS women, and "Schnell, schnell." We couldn't see, it was dark.
They gave us shoes from the people what got killed in Auschwitz, second-hand shoes. And in Blecheme, they gave me the number on my hand. The number was 184738, and that was my name actually.
My number was 48,632 with a blue triangle underneath the number. This was the sign of a Jew. And from then on, I was no more Hella Frank. I was prisoner, Häftling number 48,632, and that is how I was reporting myself.
They used to wake us up early in the morning, like 6 o'clock. They used to count us, and they called out not their name, they called out a number, and I had to say, yes, jawohl, I'm here, to count if somebody's not missing. But if somebody was missing, then they could take out a few people and to shot them straight away.
We settled in the barracks, and our daily occupation was running with stones, backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards. In the morning, we'd line up, and the couples would divide us, and then you started running with stones, and you piled up the stones, and when the pile was too big, then you took the same stones and ran backwards with the stones, and then you ran that way.
The SS were very cruel. They were screaming and shouting and beating the inmates all the time. And we didn't know what we were supposed to do because they were screaming so much. There were mountains of shoes and glasses, and we were told that this is from the lodge, that big transport that came from the lodge ghetto. And we were supposed to sort these things out, but how can you sort out millions of shoes that were loose? They're not even tied together. And we realized where these shoes came from. So it was a doubly awful job to do.
When I got my one slice of bread, I had a big problem. Do I eat that whole big meal now? Or do I keep a piece for myself until the afternoon when I know I'm going to be bloody hungry? And I remember my decision to eat the whole thing was based on the fact that I was a child. And everybody else was also hungry. And if an adult came to me and tried to take it off me, I could not prevent him from doing it, unless I'd eaten it.
Still in Majdanek, we saw a girl being hanged, and the commandant of the camp said, "This is going to happen to every one of you who try to escape."
Sometimes you stood for hours and hours and hours in the freezing cold, and if somebody collapsed, they put the dogs on them. And my mother was very conscious that, you know, I was very small, so what she did was, I think of it now, she put her hand over both my eyes so I couldn't see all these horrible things. She put her thumb in my ears so I wouldn't hear